Despite being a quote-unquote beginner trick, the pop shove it evaded me for months. In fact, at one point, I had better, cleaner, and more consistent kickflips than I did pop shove its. But that's a thing of the past, and today I'm stoked to share with you how to pop shove it. I don't think there are a lot of prerequisites that you need when learning a lot of tricks, besides riding and being comfortable on your board. But for the pop shove it in particular, knowing how to shove it and literally any other trick will be helpful. The more tricks you know, no matter how simple they might seem, the easier it will be to learn more tricks. Skateboarding is a compounding skill, and tricks and skills feed off of each other. But first, what is a pop shove it? A pop shove it is a trick where the back foot pushes down and scoops the deck so that it rotates 180 degrees under the body by popping the tail off of the ground. If you're a regular skater, the deck rotates 180 degrees clockwise, and if you're a goofy skater, the deck will rotate 180 degrees counterclockwise. Now let's jump right into foot positioning. The foot positioning I use on this trick is to have the ball of my foot very much in the middle of my tail. I don't recommend keeping your foot in the pocket just because I found the board flips a lot more here, and I found this especially true for looser trucks. It is definitely not incorrect. A lot of skaters can do it this way as well, but I find the pop shove it more consistent with my back foot in the center. My front foot typically stays somewhere between the front bolts and the center of the deck, and it's a little bit away from the toe side edge. I don't recommend keeping your foot completely covering the deck like this, because in the beginning, the extra friction when taking your foot off the deck can cause problems. It's much faster to pull the foot off and away from the deck when it's already hanging off a little bit. If you're struggling, experiment with your front foot more towards the center. It might be more comfortable for you. Experimenting with foot positioning is always a good idea because what works for others might not work for you, and your foot positioning might change as you improve. So just embrace it. Now let's get into the secret of this trick, or rather secrets, as I have found that there are 2 keys to getting a good pop shove it. The first key is understanding what a scoop is. The elusive scoop in skateboarding confuses a lot of people. When I first started trying this trick, I was always doing this backwards slashing motion, and unsurprisingly, it didn't work well. So if you're struggling with pop shove its, first check your scoop. So at this point you might be thinking, Sarah, we get it, stop being long-winded, just tell us what the scoop is. Well, we know it's not a swipe or a slash. Slashing back at an angle will get you started, but the pop shove it will probably look like this. The scoop is really the path that your foot follows while popping. A regular pop typically is done straight down, or maybe slightly in one direction or the other for certain tricks, but a scoop, first your foot goes down, curves, and then comes back up. Then we need to think about direction. You don't want to be popping straight behind you. You actually want to be popping almost in the direction of your front heel. So the scoop dips down and comes back up in this direction. So let's look at both the slashed pop and the scooped pop and see what's the difference and why it matters. In a slashed pop, most of the force is going down at a diagonal. That's going to influence the rotation of the deck a lot more than the pop's height, because the force will ricochet and the board will go back up in a similar path that it came down. In a scooped pop, there is a lot more downward force, so it makes sense that the board will pop up higher. Just look at how high I can scoop the board as opposed to when I just kind of slash down at it. And if you look closely, I make kind of an upside down rainbow. Down, scoop, and up. The second key is your jump and its relation to when you scoop. First of all, it took me quite some time to start adequately jumping for the pop shove it. Most of the time, my front foot caught the shove it and stopped it while rotating or from popping up any higher. So this is a struggle you might go through. But as you get stronger and better, just remember to lift your knees up as high as you need to. You don't have to jump really high, you need to lift your knees and jump slightly forward. Now, you do not want to do the scoop while in full jump mode, slamming your feet into the ground. You'll most likely pin the board to the ground instead. You want to make sure you're getting that scoop after your body is starting to come off of the deck. So you want a quick, snappy scoop after your body weight has started to leave. Many skaters would probably say that the third key is to catch the pop shove it with your front foot. I never had to intentionally do this because my front foot usually was stopping the board mid-rotation anyway. I know a lot of people say it'll stop the board from flipping, but since I control that issue pretty well with just how I pop, I haven't needed to stop the board from flipping with my front foot. But it's something to keep in mind if you're struggling with it flipping and using the center of the tail to pop is not helping. So the big question is, how do we practice? Braille's method for this is a pretty good one. I would say just make sure that you focus on popping down with the scoop. You don't want to slash it, so start off gently. Really try to just get that scoop motion. And then for fun, just try a few yeets. Just try to get your body to do this. And then later, commit to finishing. Scoop it, hold it, and hop back on. This is nothing but a little extra practice jumping onto the board. After this, I would recommend using a shove it as your warm-up, which is why I think that knowing a shove it could potentially help with this trick. Do one shove it, and then do the shove it again, but add in the scooped pop. Really focus on popping down and then scooping forward towards your front heel. Because the shove it and pop shove it do have a lot of commonalities, I think it's a good warm-up. It gets you jumping back onto the deck, picking up the knees, jumping forward, all of those good details. But if you cannot shove it, I would highly recommend warming up with hippie jumps and knee tuck jumps as always. I'll leave some slow motion footage at the end for anyone who'd like to just look at that. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope you got something out of it, and I hope to see you next time.